Welcome to our second week of Lent. This is our midweek encouragement, a little sustenance for the journey, as it were. Speaking of journeying, our one of the days in our devotional on March 13th talked about traveling companions, and the author looked at Luke 8. 1 through 3, which says this: Jesus went through cities and villages proclaiming and bringing the good news of the kingdom of God. The 12 were with him, as well as some women who had been cured of the evil spirits and infirmities. Mary, called Magdalene, from whom 7 demons had gone out, and Joanne, the wife of Herod's steward Chuza, and Susanna, and many others who provided for them out of their resources. The author goes on to talk about how when they're going on a trip, they oftentimes will think about who's going on the trip and kind of get an understanding of what you might need to take along or where you might need to go. But she makes this really fantastic observation. And she says, Jesus chooses a diverse group of travel companions. People of varied genders, social statuses, needs, gifts, and resources. This is a model of inclusivity, as well as of care and humility. Jesus is a teacher, a guide, as well as a recipient of companionship and care. Jesus' companions both shape and allow for his ministry to be what it will be. And I just thought that was a fantastic observation. And as I've been wrestling with this particular text, I came to a little bit of a different conclusion, had a different impulse. Have you ever gone on a trip on the airplane and you have thought to yourself, I'm not going to spend the time I need to spend in order to pack a bag, check it, and go to the baggage check afterwards? I mean, you never know what's going to happen. Perhaps they'll lose your baggage, or it'll take an extra 30, 40 minutes. And you just are on a quick trip and you want to get somewhere, you want to enjoy where you're at, and then you want to be able to go home just as easily. And so you pick the bag that just barely or perhaps doesn't quite fit within the carry-on requirements, and you shove that bag full, and then you shove it up above the seats in the carry-on space. It seems like when we're going on a journey, we feel like we've got to take as much baggage along as possible. Yeah, everything we might need, all the different things to help us stay clean, which is a fantastic idea, and all the clothes we might need, and for all the eventualities of weather that we might hit. When I was in high school and into college, when we went on our mission trips to Mexico, myself and my friends would be in charge of loading the baggage. And some people packed super light, because the truth was that every day you didn't have the opportunity to take a shower. And so your dirty clothes were going to be dirty no matter what. And so some people took the bare essentials, and other people took bags that were so heavy we weren't so sure that we could quite get them into this trailer. And the funny thing was that we kind of knew whose bags were whose, right? By the end of the trip, we understood who wanted to carry as little baggage as possible and who felt like they needed to bring all that they were with them. And we could pick them out and we could kind of tease them a little bit. And I'm not going to go into specifics about who those people were, but I can still remember their names. The funny thing is that while we oftentimes consider all the eventualities, all the different things that we might need to bring on our trip, when Jesus calls us, he asks us to leave behind the baggage of our lives. When Jesus calls Mary Magdalene to follow after him, he releases her from those demons and from the shame and guilt that she experienced as someone who had been taken hold of those evil spirits. When Jesus calls the disciples, he calls men who have been passed over by other rabbis and have already been seen as not good enough. And Jesus calls them and says, "You are good enough. Release your baggage and follow after me." When Jesus calls us, he does indeed call us on a journey. He does indeed call us to journey with him, to be ministered to by him, and for us to serve and minister with him in relationship. But he calls us to leave behind the baggage of our lives. During this season of Lent, is there a piece of baggage that you need to throw away, that's been weighing you down, that's been keeping you from going as far and as fast as you possibly can with Jesus? This is the season. Now is the time. Drop the baggage and leave it behind so you can be all that Jesus is calling you to be and to do. Blessings. Enjoy the week. Leave that baggage behind.